All right, good afternoon, everyone. If you take a look up on the screen, you'll see two pictures of a city that you all should be able to recognize. I'd be very disappointed if you can't recognize it. This is obviously Boston, and while Boston does not have the tallest skyline, it does not have maybe the most magnificent bridges in the world. What makes Boston really special is that you have a lot of different diverse neighborhoods in it. I mean, you have a ton of different neighborhoods. You have JP, you have, Chinatown, Charlestown, East Eve, and like I could go on. But just imagine a Boston that doesn't have all these different neighborhoods, and you lose some of the culture. That really loses the charm of what makes Boston Boston. And this could potentially be the future when gentrification occurs and we let gentrification occur. So some of you might know gentrification already, but a simple definition can just be the influx of more wealthy, affluent people moving into a typically lower income neighborhood and the changes that accompany it. And what's so special about gentrification in Boston is that according to a 2013 report, Boston is the fastest gentrifying city in the nation. And today we will be discussing the history of gentrification in Boston, specifically Chinatown, why we should even care about places like Chinatown, why we should care about gentrification, and what we could possibly do about it. So on this picture, this is Kensington Place. It is a luxury condo located right outside the Chinatown Orange Line T-stop. And I wanted to use this as an example because the Chinatown Orange Line T-stop, if you've ever taken the Orange Line there, when you walk out, you won't see anything that's really Chinatown. You would see a CVS, Walgreens, Kensington Place, and you would have to walk a block to see actual Chinatown. That really shows how much the boundaries of Chinatown has changed, how much it has shrunk over the years, and the new developments that are going up around Chinatown also cause different effects inside of Chinatown. So this is Maxim Coffee House, and it is located on the busiest corner of Chinatown. And it was open for 33 years and just recently closed down this summer. Their reason was loss of lease. So even if it wasn't this coffee house, you also have 3 or 4 more other businesses that have closed down in Chinatown over the past year. And it could potentially be due to rent increases. As I said, for Kensington Place, there's also Archstone, which is another luxury condo across from it. You can see Millennium Place going up in Downtown Crossing from basically anywhere in Boston. And all these places are right next to Chinatown, and they have increased the rents to levels that people can't live there anymore. They can't work there anymore, and they can't like eat there anymore. Just to put it in perspective, the average annual income of a Chinatown family is $14,000 a year, and basically the cheapest room that you can get in Kensington is $3,000 a month. So you can barely live there for half a year, let alone for like the rest of your life. And why you should really care is this coffee house doesn't just have to be in Chinatown. Imagine if Chinatown was completely wiped away, then they start building in your neighborhoods. Your local corner shops, your local restaurants that you love to frequent, and even your house rent will possibly go away. And you'll be forced to move, you'll be forced to find new places to live. And this is very important when you're looking at the housing market, maybe when you go to college or after you go to college, you find work. And what we could possibly do about it, well, just like other capstone projects, the first thing is be informed. You definitely want to keep up to date on all the issues, all the policies. And using this, you can vote for people who have better policies and really care about what can be done with housing. And thirdly, and this is a very important one, is to support local businesses and organizations. So there are a lot of nonprofits in Chinatown that do a lot of great work. There are a lot of small businesses. I'm sure maybe some of you have eaten at some of the restaurants in Chinatown. They really feed into the local economy, and they help the residents there, the businesses there, to keep open. And then finally, I'll be creating a website called Disappearing Boston. It's up there, and I will be interviewing community leaders. I'll be potentially interviewing some of the policymakers in Boston. So look forward to that. And also I would urge all of you to come join my tour. I'll be hosting a tour of Chinatown, talking about its development, its history of gentrification. And then we'll also be holding up signs if you want to do that. It's kind of, it's half action, half tour. And you really want to put pressure on the people who affect your communities, and you really want to make sure that the communities stay what you want them to be. So I just want to leave by saying that Boston is a great city. I love living here for its diversity, for its semi-working public transportation system. And if you want to keep living here, you must be involved in your community, and you must pay attention to what's going on. And housing market is a very important part of what it takes to live in a city like Boston. Thank you.
Okay, questions?
When's your tour? I want to.
Right now, I am planning it for maybe like mid-March to late March, somewhere around there.
And is it like an organization that you do the tour with, or is it just you?
Well, I used to lead tours around Chinatown through the Asian Community Development Corporation, but this is kind of like a separate thing. It's just something I wanted to do to inform some more people of like the real history behind Chinatown, the real history behind gentrification.
How do you hope to get your message across to these policymakers? Like I know the BRA is a big thing that's involved with this. So do you hope to eventually maybe have a meeting with them and other people so that you can talk about these issues, or are you just looking to just look at people in the state house or representatives or?
So recently I've contacted city councilors, and I will also be contacting the BRA. And right now my plans are to see what their points of views are. Recently the BRA had part of the exhibit at the West End Museum, and they wanted to take back the term urban renewal because urban renewal has sort of negative connotation around Boston for what happened in the 50s and 60s when they tore down a lot of stuff, built highways, built things in place of housing. So right now I am planning to really get their point of view first, and then see if any change can be made using those points of view.
Would you actually prefer to keep Boston in its traditional glory, or do you think it would be better to urbanize it?
So for sure Boston will undergo changes. That's just the nature of cities, and it's not realistic to keep it exactly the way it is. But I think my main point was that gentrification has a lot of different effects for the less privileged. So your lower income, your middle class, might eventually be displaced, and your local businesses will no longer be in business. So I don't expect Boston to completely stay the same. But I think there is reason to fight for a Boston where you can still frequent some of your favorite like small restaurants, talk to people on the streets, and build like good neighborhoods.
What would you say to those people who argue that gentrification is a good thing, like for cities that maybe like are dying, or like Detroit, for example, or cities that need like a leg up or something, and people argue that gentrification would help?
I think gentrification has its own benefits. For sure, it can. For sure, there have been studies done where they say that median incomes can rise due to gentrification. But when you're weighing the benefits and costs of gentrification, there's a lot of evidence behind displacement of lower income families, communities, and businesses. So in the end, it's our own personal decision whether we think gentrification is good or not, but with the benefits being, they're not as